Hello there. I already recorded a video the night, Jesus fucking Christ, goddamn ricers. I already recorded a video the night that the fail tasers beat the Pahonix Buns in the plan to thieve the 7th seed from their anuses and enjoy a nice extra couple of days of rest. That said, let me tell you. Boy, after watching the first game versus the Spoys, I have some additional thoughts. And instead of just editing that video, I'll probably just delete it. Let me throw in my thoughts into one video, this one right here, between the two for observations. Because there is some things that I had said in that video that I recorded the night that we beat the Buns that I said needed to that I had said needed to happen in this playoff series for us to have a shot in the dark, let alone a chance to actually not only make it highly competitive, but actually give ourselves a chance to win at least one game, if not a couple. And I don't believe we'll be able to win anything more than 2 games in this playoff series with the Spurs. I guarantee we are going to lose the series. And therefore, there was, in my mind, as I said in that video, near the end of it, there's no point, really, in taking it extremely seriously this matchup. Like, ultimately, I think everybody in their day grandmother knows we're fucked. We're not gonna win the series. There's no chance, not unless Victor and maybe like Devin Vassell go down with injuries and miss some games. We might actually have a shot in the dark to do that. But we also don't want that because why would you want to watch the absolute slaughter of this team by the goddamn Thunder? Although I guess technically, no, yeah, it would be the Thunder because we're not the 8th seed. So, and obviously the Thunder are going to absolutely dominate. I think they're going to sweep the series that they have versus the Slippers, sorry, because they lost. Because we literally went and put a knife to their throats and said, give us all your fucking lunch money, bitch. And then they did. They peed themselves and shat themselves a little bit. And we said, thank you for the 8th seed. And then we went and we did the same thing. And we curb stomped for good measure for our own entertainment, the Suns in that playing game to steal the 7th from that. We literally fucking stole both the 8th and then the 7th seeds in perfect sequence. It was a beautiful sight and very fun, and it's very poetic justice because the fucking goddamn Molten Bait Warriors are finally missing from the playoffs, and it's about goddamn time that they're not in the damn playoffs. I just get so irritated by seeing the same damn teams every fucking year and having to put up with ESPN and ABC, which is obviously all Disney World, and the rest of the circle jerking of freaking Steph Curry and the whole Warriors team and the Cavaliers when LeBron was on it, and then LeBron in general. And it's just like nobody wants to fucking hear it. You've heard it literally their entire careers, their entire existences. Shut the fuck up. Just get rid of them permanently, please. And unfortunately, we still have LaWine Blames to have everyone jerking off because he's 41. Look at the things he's doing. You mean like standing around doing jack shit? Defensively, especially? And even offensively, he just stands there 90% of the time. He genuinely does. But okay, LeBron Shaq's rules. Anyway, different story. The point is, we don't have no shot in the dark to win the series. Not unless genuinely like pretty major injuries happen to Victor and happen to at least Devin Vassell. Although Keldon Johnson off the bench has been ruining us every single time we've played him this year. So honestly, that could actually be a key too. If it ain't Devin, then it's got to be him. And even then, we're still probably going to be absolutely spit roasted in this series and only really have a realistic chance to win one game, steal one, and go for a gentleman's sweep. Odds are we're going to go 0. And thus the point being is ultimately there's no reason to take this series seriously if you're a Tiago Splitter. So how about instead you expand, instead of contracting, you expand the rotations a little bit. And you give Blake Wesley 8 to 12 minutes a game. Or sorry, like 6 to 11 minutes a game, and you give CD Sissoko, 8 to 12 minutes a game. I think makes total sense. With the normal rotations you already have been playing, throw those two fuckers in there as well. Especially considering there's believe it or not, there's more than just one reason for that. And that is because that main reason that everyone would think of is, oh, because they're former Spurs. Wow. Well, sure, you might think of it in that fucking, you're fucking stupid, aren't you? Kind of thing. No. The fact is, Goofy, is that we are actually, it would make a lot of sense because they just, literally this last offseason, the Spurs offloaded them. They just kicked them to the curb. And they're like, you know what? We don't believe in you guys anymore. Go away. You're not worth our time. We're already prepared to be even better than we ever have been for many years at this point. Fuck off. And Blake Wesley and CD Sissoko are genuinely guys that I myself, as a Blazers guy who dominantly just watches Blazers games and doesn't too commonly watch any other teams play, already knew about them since their rookie years, and actually I've already liked them for that long because of the mentality they have and their motors and the way they fucking play and their energy they put out there, is amazing. And they do have genuine potential. They just need the right team and the right coach to fit with them and to use them correctly and to actually give them a fucking proper chance. And right now is the perfect time to do that because not only are they the former Spurs who just got kicked to the curb by the Spurs last offseason, so in other words, it's still fresh as hell. Their entire playbook, all their schemes, all their typical plans, and how they play these different teams, including, the Blazers. So this is actually freaking perfection for them. Do they have any experience in the playoffs with the Spurs? No. But that doesn't really matter. They have what they need. They have enough of it that they can actually throw it off. Second reason. Ain't no way Mitch Johnson's gonna fucking expect Tiago to throw out fucking Blake Wesley and CD Sissoko, especially at the same time, into the game in the middle of it. He's not gonna expect that. Nor are these players. And then as they're on the court and it happens, they're going to be up in their heads now a little bit. They're going to be a little bit unfocused because the fuck is this rotation? And or they might also get a little too egotistical, kind of like Victor Wembanyama literally did last night in the second half 3 separate times. And one of them, he literally fucking ruined him. He owned himself. And it was picture perfect because it was while Reggie Miller and all the rest of the idiots over there were jacking him off and saying like, oh, well, look at how restrained he is. He's channeling his anger for the fact he didn't get a call that he felt he absolutely should have had, which is a foul on the Blazers, so he could go to the line. And he's really mad about it. But look at how he's channeling it. Those Shaolin monks really did a lot for him. And as they fucking are just raving about him going through the work, I'm like, look at how it's really working for him. He's really channeling this. He's just like, they're also actively mentioning how he's demanding the ball, and he's mad, and so he's channeling it into the game. And he's like, I want to dominate this. I want to take full control. And then he literally fucking just did like 5 different moves at once, started stumbling, lost the fucking ball twice in the process, and then finally fell to the ground and lost the damn ball, and we went off on the break. Literally as they're raving about it. It was so fucking funny because it literally couldn't have been more fucking picture perfect timing too. I was cackling my ass off when I saw that, and I literally just on Twitter, I'm like, fuck you, Wemby. Fucking overly ambitious bitch. Because goddamn, like, he just got so pissed that he apparently mischanneled it and decided, let's go into hyperdrive and just literally look like an idiot out here. And that's what he did. But he did that 2 other times. It wasn't as chaotic and wasn't as satisfying, but it was present, and they were still constantly touting. It's like, it's the Shaolin monks, you see him channeling it, and then every single time he got ambitious and he wanted to get the ball and go at us, he fucking failed. All 3 times. It was so funny and perfectly timed. So kind of in that vein, right? Like, it could make them so overly confident because they're like, oh, these guys are scrubs in comparison to the rest of the regular rotation. Fuck it. We can dominate these dudes. And I guarantee they're gonna fucking actually make them pay for being that overly confident and cocky about it, thinking we can just do this because it's gonna be the Wemby mentality problem, where they get a little too up in up their own asses basically, and then they're gonna be making tons of mistakes, and that's exactly how CD and Blake function, especially defensively. That's their whole fucking mentality. That's their whole play style. Is their whole shtick, and plus in the playoffs, as we all know, so I don't need to tell you this, man, I'm just say it anyway for emphasis sake, because it's important contextually, everything slows down quite a lot from the regular season. So even teams that were like setting record paces offensively and even defensively as teams in the regular season, slow it way. They yank they basically slam the gas pedal and they yank back on the handbrake quite a lot. Not like overwhelmingly so, but they still, it's very obvious how much slower and more half court offense the teams go. They become a lot more slow and methodical. That's just how playoffs work. We all know this. And so what better than to, with that second reason, bringing them out for the third reason, which is that because of the second reason, they naturally are going to throw the entire game plan off on both ends for the Spurs or for anybody that you throw them out at, because they're, the second one is, again, they are not expecting it. And then now, and therefore it might also potentially, if it doesn't get in their head and start fucking with them, it's going to unthrow them off. It's also going to end up having, you know, an ego potential trip that they're going to go into. But on top of it, because of how they play and how wildly athletic and fast they are, and how much of a chaos engine, he's just a nexus of chaos. He's just pure Hurricane Cat 5 chaos is Blake Wesley, the way he fucking runs around like a fucking a Dementor on the court, especially defensively. And even offensively, actually, he's just pure chaos. That's all he is. He's just a chaos engine on both ends of the floor. And with his speed and his agility, dude, it would be so much fun to watch him get out there and fucking, with that chip on his shoulder, go out there and fuck him up in the head, because they're not expecting it. They think they can dominate him. That's why they got rid of him. And now also they're being sped way the fuck up on both ends of the floor. But especially defensively, he's going to speed them way up. And because he's a pure engine of chaos, think about the impact that's going to have in terms of their plays and how he literally throws himself around the court like an idiot. Like that, you do not understand how helpful that would be in that like 6 to 10 minutes of play a game. And then on top of that, CD Sissoko has some decent ball handling skills too, and playmaking, great playmaking potential. I actually see it this time in him, unlike with like Justice Winslow or other, Evan Turner or other players that they're like, oh, he has great potential. Ant, actually. And it's like, actually, they never did. I called it out since the beginning, and boy howdy, we were ever proven correct on that. But in this case, I can actually see it with CD. He has the vision, he has the IQ, and he has some of the recognition, and he has the ball handling ability right now for the most part. Especially if he's running and then suddenly stops, like he can just change speed really quick. If he can figure out how to use that and his big ass, strong ass body of his to make plays, he's gonna turn down those turnovers quite a bit. Slow it down a little bit. He's going to lower those turnovers a lot and get the playmaking up. And it's going to be a lot of fun if he can develop that too. I don't care if he doesn't really develop much on offense. That alone offensively with his defense is going to be so much fun. He's going to be a hell of a role player for the rest of his career at that point. If he can pull that shit off. And so, that's really exciting. But he, unlike Blake, he's not a chaos engine, but he still causes havoc out there. We've all seen it so many different times. He is so good at getting in the heads of even the most like stern, strong-willed and heady veterans. He gets under their skin so easily. I mean, it's incredible to watch. Like some of the most well-known, like mentally just locked in and locked down veterans actually start to get pissed off and frustrated at him because they're like, motherfucker, because he's that good at just getting in their heads. It's not even just how the plays he's able to make. It's just the way he plays defensively gets in their heads. He's so physical, but he's smart with how physical he is. Not always, but the majority of the time. And that's why they get so angry. And so it would be so much more fun to throw him in there for that reason as well. And that's why you give him a little more minutes, because he's also more experienced and he's less chaotic. So it's, think about that. And then, like I had alluded to there, I guess a fourth reason would be they have chips on their shoulders, especially because this is the damn Spurs. And they're so high up on their damn pedestal that it would be so fun for those guys, and they'd be so motivating for them to get out there and knock them down a peg. You know what I mean? And really prove themselves. It'd be amazing. And so that's one of the things I mentioned in that. Because, again, we're not winning the series. That's just the end-all, be-all of it. We all know it. So the intelligent decision is to just use it more like a learning experience and give some guys like those two actual meaningful minutes, even if it's not that long, short stints in these games. Situational, doesn't matter. It's going to be fun because the point is more to just give them just enough time to actually get some blood flowing, get some actual playoff experience and some court experience, help build their confidence a little bit, build the trust in them. And then at the same time, again, just disrupt. That's all it's there to do, is throw everyone off. You never know when he's going to bring them back in the game. It's just intelligent, I think, for that reason. And we still can win at least a game, I think, even if you consistently play those guys at random during games. It would be so much fun. So, and that's another, actually, there's a fifth reason, is that they're energizers. If you've been watching Blazers games, you should have obviously noticed this by now and have known this for a long time, and we would not dispute this, is that they're energizers in the best way possible, which is that the entire team gets motivated and their energy spikes every time they're on the floor because they are that much fun and they're that chaotic and that just relentless. They're so relentlessly dogged in the way that they especially play defense and the way that they run the floor on both ends. And and the hustle that they have, especially CD, it just, the amount that our guys get amped the fuck up is so much fun to watch. And you need those kinds of players. And because I came up predominantly and started watching basketball, especially around 2010, well, guess what that fucking means? I'm thinking Jeff Pendergraph. And I refuse to say what his official legal last name is now. Jeff Pendergraph is just that guy I immediately default to in my head because that's what his job was. He's the energizer. He fired up the team whenever he was on the floor. And he motivates them. Everybody loves them when they're on their team. Every team needs a player like that, you know? If not a couple, we have two. It's awesome. And speaking of two, but now the TOU version of two, that's something else I mentioned in that video that I need to mention here because it's perfectly in line with what we saw and witnessed both in that Phoenix game and then again on, yesterday, the 19th, playing the Spurs, because in the first game of the first round of the playoffs, is because, as I said in that video, two disappointed me in that playing game versus the Buns, because that motherfucker was killing it in his final, especially like 20 games, 18, 20 games of the season. He was dominant offensively. He was killing it. Like, and that's, I know that's why we won most of our game, almost all of our games to close out the year, is because he didn't just step the fuck up and lock the fuck in. His confidence skyrocketed and it unlocked a new level of confidence in himself offensively. And he just got into a flow state offensively. He just kept going. Everyone loved it. He loved it. That's what we need. We need that in the fucking, especially more than ever, more than the regular season could ever hope to have, which is always good to have it, but it's not as needed, remotely as needed as it is in the motherfucking playoffs. And that includes the play-ins. You need to have that level maintained, that focus maintained, that motivation maintained. You can't revert. Well, in the play-in game, as we saw, he reverted. He reverted right back to what he was even in his rookie season, which is really just exclusively a defensive and hustle guy. That's it. He just played defense and he hustled. And he set picks and stuff. You know, some fundamental stuff. That's basically it. He was very allergic to the ball on offense, in my opinion, in that game. He was a little more willing to hold onto the ball a little longer and like dribble and drive a little bit, but you could tell they weren't serious probing drives or like seriously, I'm looking for a shot, or trying to open somebody up kind of drives that he did in the first game versus the Spurs. So yes, it was a little bit of improvement in that regard, but it didn't really actually change his mentality and what he was looking to do. He didn't want the ball. That was the problem. He just didn't. He was always looking to defer and to get rid of it as soon as it got to him. It was only if they literally just left him open and they knew they would not be able to recover and they give him plenty of time, then he'd take time and his time and he'd shoot a three and a spot up. But that was basically it. Like, he just didn't do anything. He didn't attack. He tried to attack once, actually, on Victor. And I actually liked the attempt. It's like, there we go, finally. That was the one and only time he did that in the entire fucking game. And it's just like, dude, we would be so much more competitive, and we would have actually had a genuine, solid chance to win that first game and steal it in San Antonio, for that matter. It really shock everyone if 2 had stepped the motherfucking hell up. But he reverted. Just like he did in the play, he reverted. He went right back to, I don't want to touch this ball on offense. I don't want this ball in my hands. Stop giving it to me. I got to get rid of it. I got to immediately think. He's thinking defer every fucking time. He's thinking, who can I get this to? Who can I get to score this? Like, he just did not want the ball in his hands. And you cannot be a role player when you are being paid, 70, 80, 90 million dollars for 4 years to be a future cornerstone of this goddamn team. You can't do that. Like, and especially considering this is your fucking proving stage too. You know that. Like, this is going to prove not just to yourself, which you don't really necessarily need to do. I feel like you did that at the end of the season. And thus to your team. It's not really them either for the same reason. But it's to prove to all the haters, the naysayers, the doubters, and everybody else across the league, all the other teams, including people like Trey Murphy, who's like, I'm a better player than 2 is. Fuck you. No, you're not. I love T Murph. He's a great player. I really enjoy the way he plays. His mentality sucks in terms of just like he has a bit of an ego issue. Go figure. That's everybody in the athletics these days, any athletes, any sport these days. But seriously, like, and I still feel like 2 is genuinely the better player overall, all around. It's just that he doesn't have, he's too prone to let himself just kind of slither back into his old habits and be like, oh God, now I'm scared to fucking have the ball in my hands. I don't want to fucking have this ball in my hands. I don't want to shoot it. Bro, you've completed the season on a hell of a dominant streak, proving why you need that mentality. Because you already have all the skills and the abilities and the consistency, in fact, on all aspects of the floor in terms of offense you need. You have a lot of tools in your box, and they're pretty polished. All you need to do is believe in yourself rather than suddenly tuck your tail between your legs and run for the corners and cower, like he did in the plan, and he did it again in the fucking first game. Somebody's got to light a fire in 2 and get him to step the fuck up, because we need him. All of his teammates need him to do that. They need him to continue what he did at the end of the season. If we want to have a chance to truly compete, not get absolutely butchered in all 4 games, and actually steal a game, maybe even 2, it's up to 2 to do that. It's gonna be him. He is literally the X factor, especially offensively. He's the full team's success X factor. And it's all about his offense. If he's going to keep tucking tail and running, we're fucked. We're hopeless. And it's going to frustrate me and hurt me a lot, because I am the biggest fucking fan of 2. I fucking adore 2. I think he represents just about everything that has been missing from the NBA and from the sport for so way too fucking long. Like, his kind of player has not existed for at least a decade. He's completely the opposite of what everyone else, including all these next set of draft classes, are going to be representing. He is perfection, in my opinion, especially his mentality and the way he plays and gives full effort, usually on both ends of the floor, but especially in the hustle and the defensive aspects. But it's that offensive mentality that's got to be fixed. There's something very wrong with his psychology when it comes down to offense. I think he's just too used to being a defensive guy and being relegated to that role that he's became so comfortable with it. And it's like all he knows, that he actually genuinely almost doesn't trust himself offensively, especially in these pivotal games where there's a lot of good defense, you know, and that sucks because we suffer for it, right? His teammates suffer for it. So he needs to step the fuck up. That was a huge issue. And then just to jump to the Spurs a little bit there for that first game, their defense, the best word I can think of for it, it was swarming. Like, not semi-disorganized swarming is what I would call it. That was how they played defense, especially in the second half. That's how they played defense. Everybody was just kind of running back and forth and all around, and they were willing to do that. They chose to do that. So instead of being, motion offense and like constant motion, everybody's moving out and the ball's always moving. Instead, it's like they were the ball. They were Mike Wazowski. They were just everyone was moving at all times defensively, and it almost required them not to have to communicate defensively because it became so obvious what our game plan was, our lack of confidence offensively, that they could just do that and not have to communicate anything or try to like say, oh, hey, get your guy, or hey, switch or something. They just, because they were also so mobile and they're so athletic. So it's just like, great, like, and that was especially whenever Wemby was either off the floor or again, we were outside, and so then they knew that they couldn't like just force us into Wemby, right? So then they could just let him do all the work. Then they were just swarming us. It was literally like a bee, like you kicked a fucking wasp's or a bee's nest, and they were angry and they were just absolutely inundating with stings and bites. Like that's what they were doing offensively. And it clearly still didn't fully work for them that well because they were also really good offensively overall throughout that game, especially in the second half. And yet somehow we did manage to come back in the second half to within 2 at one point. And then also we ended up only losing by 13. Like that kind of tells you the level of fucking competitiveness we already have. Even when guys like 2 are not playing correctly offensively, they're just not, they don't have the right mindset going into it. And then again, also when like we're struggling offensively and even defensively, and yet somehow we only lose by 13. And in the process of struggling, we still end up bringing it within 2. It just is very interesting to have observed that and watched it and be like, okay, so this is literally what I've been saying now since before the play-in game we played that about this team is like, we are genuinely going to be competitive. And this is why we wanted the Spurs. Because though, yes, we technically did actually, I believe, split the season series with the Thunder this year, but the Spurs, I'm pretty sure, own the season series. I think we won one game, didn't we? I think it was like 3-1, or no, sorry, it wouldn't be 3-1. It would be 2-1 if that was the case. But if not, then well, they swept us, and it was like 3-1. I know, or 3-0. Therefore, so I mean, like, despite the fact that that's the case, it was going to be a complete fucking slaughterfest if we had to fucking face the Thunder. It was not worth it for the 8th seed at that point. At that point, it's like, what the fuck did we give up our first round pick to the Bulls for? Like if we're gonna allow ourselves to be stuck with the fucking Thunder. Because nobody's gonna watch that shit, because who wants to watch a fucking automatic butchering wire to wire, buzzer to buzzer, especially if you're a Blazers fan. Because you're watching your team get absolutely fucking butchered, taken to the butcher shop. It just doesn't make every single game, all 4 games. It's a guaranteed sweep. It doesn't make any sense, especially in the playoffs. The Spurs, I knew we had a chance and to be very competitive. And I feel like this first game, we did actually prove that. Despite our struggles, we proved it. So now consider if we had somebody like him to step up to and get average, even just 18.5 a game confidently, on like 47.5 or above shooting splits, and like 35.5 shooting splits, we'd actually be pretty solid. The thing is that we just don't have that guy. And even Drew struggled offensively. Like in fact, I don't feel like he shot as much as he normally had this whole regular season. And even in the play-in, he shot a lot. I mean, he was the leading scorer, I believe, in that game, wasn't he? Or no, he was behind Denny because Denny had a career high. But yeah, like, And then this first game, and like Drew just isn't really shooting much. It felt like I think I'd be surprised if he had over 11 attempts. Like he just did not shoot at all. And it was very interesting. He didn't attack like you normally. It's very interesting to watch that happen because even he seemed scared. And despite his improved offense this year, especially from three, so it's just very interesting to witness. But yeah, so like the Spurs though, that's swarming defense is like ants inundating every last fucking food item you have anywhere and every last crumb. It's just everywhere you look, there's another ant. You know, it was kind of how their defense was. And they can afford to do that with somebody who's fucking probably actually in reality like 7'6", 7'7", with like an 8+ foot wingspan and like a 9.5 foot reach or whatever the fuck it is. Like, and the agility and the speed that kid has is fucking disgusting. I mean, it's almost an insult. It arguably is an insult that Wemby is the way he is. It's just like, how in the flying fuck are you possible? That is just not right. That feels so wrong and so unnatural and organic. Like you have to be a lab created experiment to just be made look like a human, because this is fucking stupid as fuck. Like this genuinely should not be possible, and I fucking hate you for it because you're a one-man wrecking crew and it just absolutely is unfair. He's a literal fucking video game cheat code in every way. And you think that that was true about Kyrie on offense. Well, maybe not so much. It's just obscene. But anyway, we got to have that step up. And then, I mean, Tiago and the rest of the guys, you know, Pooh Jeter and Patrick St. John stuff, they all got to fucking, all the rest of the coaching staff, they got to step up and they got to light a fire in our guys and instill some confidence in them and be like, guys, you got to do better. You can do better. We've seen you do, all of you, individually and together, do so much better. Your confidence was like not there. You were scared offensively. And it was obvious because it was a painful offense to watch because we just weren't really doing anything. We were just kind of doing the same thing over and over again and just letting them have their way with us. And that was a huge problem. And again, like, look at how we only lost by 13 and how at one point in the second half, despite how that was where we really struggled the most, I feel like, in the entire game, we came within 2 at one point. Like, that should show you that you need to have way more confidence in each other and yourselves to attack this team and be able to actually beat their asses at least once, including offensively, because like that's what that proves. Like you gotta obviously change your perspective, because right now whatever the fuck it is you have on ain't right. It's not accurate. It's shit. Fix it. You know, like do you really want to compete? Do you really want to prove yourselves to all the haters in the world? Do you really want to have a chance to compete and to win this thing? At least win a few games, or at least one. No? Well then keep playing like you're playing. Yeah? Get your fucking shit together. Fucking Christ. You call yourself professionals. You call yourself NBA players. You call yourself veterans, some of you. Fuck off. Don't you dare consider yourself any of that unless you can fucking prove it. Because this is the proving ground. This is when you're supposed to prove it. This is what it's built for. It's made for. So you better take those words out your mouth and do not stop seeing yourself that way, because it's not real unless you fucking prove it right now. And for the rest of the series, get your fucking shit together. Get your head in the goddamn game, because it ain't there right now. And boy, was that obvious. Fix your shit, you know? So, yeah. That's kind of my observations. Ultimately, I'm really happy. I'm very happy, and I'm so grateful that this team finally fucking got to the playoffs. And I don't count 2019's run, because that was so illegitimate. I'm honestly, I genuinely try to block it out and pretend it didn't happen. Because we should not got out of the first round, honestly, that year. We genuinely should not have. We had no fucking business winning each of the series that we did and then going into the WCF. That was genuinely offensive to me as a Blazers fan, because it wasn't entertaining. Because I knew we didn't belong there. We shouldn't have been there. I don't know how the fuck we got there, but it wasn't natural. It wasn't right. Like that was just inexcusable. It was offensive to me as a fan that we were there because we were required to lose in the first round. It's just inevitable because that's the team of that's our identity. That's who we were then. To have advanced beyond that is not like I genuinely don't think it had to do with anything with skill or coaching staff or nothing. It just I if anything, I think it was just that the other teams just played that badly. They were just in a funk for some reason at the right time for us to be able to take advantage of. And yeah, I still feel like that's illegitimate because we were so much worse teams even in the first round that year. So discounting that, pretending that 2019 playoffs did not exist, you got to go to the one before that. That's how long in my head that it has been since the Blazers have last been in the playoffs, and legitimately so, therefore, and have a legitimate chance. And are playing legit, you know. So, you know, that's why I'm so grateful for it. Plus, and this is especially true, and I've been on a campaign just plastering this everywhere and being annoying as fuck about it, is that not a soul, and I mean not a soul, there was not one fucking fan of this team that I came across, or one fucking fan of the NBA or basketball in general that I ever came across to this day, who believed that this team, this Blazers team, was going to win anything more than a maximum of 38 games this season. And the mass majority believed it was going to be between 28 and 36 games. Max is this team was going to win this year. That's fucking disgusting. And last season, I think we won 36 games. It was either that or 38. So in other words, nobody believed. It didn't matter. You could take your fucking pick, man, of like Blazers media, fan media, you know, and personnel and creators and stuff that genuinely all agreed that like we were not going to improve this year at all. They actually, majority of them genuinely thought we were going to do worse this season. Holy shit. Meanwhile, I literally pinned it on my Discord. I spammed it on Twitter. I fucking put it in a bunch of comments on a bunch of different videos predicting the season, whether it's for the league or the Western Conference or for the Blazers this season. Obviously, before even training camp started. Some of them during training camps. I commented in their things, and I literally said, come back to this when the season ends, because I guarantee I'm right. We're going to win between 44 and 46 games this season. Mark it. We're going to do that. And then on some of those videos, I added the addendum out of pure spite for how much shit they were giving this team and how literally non-existent their belief was in this team and this roster, that I had literally out of spite had added the addendum of saying that at the bare minimum, the Blazers were going to win 500 games. So in other words, be a 500 team this year. They're going to win 41 games this year. They're going to go 41-41. Mark it, because I know I'm right. Well, the Blazers won 42. Dead between 41 and the 44. So I was literally right. Don't know what to tell you. And you do not understand how incredibly pettily satisfying that is for me. How cathartic it is for me. How genuinely validating that is for me of how right I was. How spot on the head I was. When nobody else believed in this motherfucking team. But I did. And I am one of the biggest shit talkers. I don't do, sports or NBA or Blazers videos often. But when I do, it's usually when I'm talking mad shit about this fucking franchise and this team and how much it sucks to be a Blazers fan. How we're all masochists. And I still fucking believed in this team more than you or anybody else in this fucking franchise and this fan base did. So yeah, I'm gonna take my fucking laps and I'm gonna force feed you this shit down your throat, whether you want to hear it or not. Till the cows come home and take over the house with squatters' rights. Perhaps utters' rights, I suppose. That probably is more accurate. But the point being, would it behoove you to be moved? I gotta stop making cow jokes. But would it behoove you to actually have some fucking confidence and trust in this fucking team for once? To have some belief in the guys? You don't have to believe in the coaching staff. You don't even have to believe in the front office. I do not like Joe Cronin. I think he's a terrible GM. Comparative to Neil Shae, he's fucking Jesus Christ. But he still sucks. At the end of the day, you don't have to believe in any of them. You don't have to believe in fucking Tom Dundon now in the ownership. You can hate them all and think they're all incompetent idiots. But you got to be able to separate between the guys, the players on this team, and their mentalities and how they play, and their heart and their hustle, and the rest of the team. So the coaching staff, the front office, the ownership, you name it. You got to be able to do that. Would it behoove you to do that? Because they're not here for any. They're not here out of any motivation or trust or ability given by you, the fan base, or their own media and fan media. Not one of you did that. So this isn't as a result, and there's zero input. There's zero, nothing related to fans that got them here. It's just sheer skill and willpower and growth and chemistry amongst the players on the roster. That's all it really is. It had nothing to do with you as a fan. Not one thing. But you can change that going into next season. You could. It just depends on if you're that much of a cynic to where you refuse to. It's an option. But anyway, like I said, that's why I'm super thankful for the fact that they made it here. And I love this team. I think the guys that we have on the roster are so much fun. And even when they don't play, they're fun as hell. And they have so much potential. And I love their mentalities and energies. The only person I can say that I do not like the mentality of and the motor of, or really the lack thereof, is Shae. I love Shae as a person. I love him as a character. He's very funny. He's very fun, obviously. He's chill, and I love chill people. The issue is he's too fucking chill. The dude is so baseline neutral at all times, in and out of games, on or off season. It's literally killing his potential because he has so much potential. We all know he does. He's never going to fill it as long as he doesn't have an infernal lit in his fucking ass because there's no motivations there. There's no motor. It's just pure neutrality. It's just blankness. It's like we're staring at a fucking blank canvas ready to be painted. And he's just like, I'm good. Look at that camera over there, though. That's nice. Shae, fix your shit. Get a new brain, something. Fuck my life. It drives me nuts. And I knew he wasn't going to improve this year because of the fact that whether he got injured or not, she did, because of the fact that just his off season, like he did actually have videos output, whether from him and his camp or other people who he associated with, that he worked out with and scrimmaged with and everything else. He carried himself even more lackadaisically throughout that. He didn't work on anything. And it's just like, this dude genuinely doesn't give a fuck. He's just here for the money, I guess. He's just here for the ride and the occasional highlight. Like, he could be so much better, but he's not. He's basically another Ant Simons. And I could go ranting about Ant forever because I am the founder and leader of the Crucify Ant Hate Club. And boy, was I ever proven right and you proven wrong when it came down to Anthony Simons because he was traded twice this year. In fact, he was traded twice in less than a year. And in fact, in less than a full season, he was traded twice. Because we traded him to Alt Portland and the Celtics, who are a contender. They tried him as a starter. He made them so much worse. So they said, fuck it, we'll try you as a sixth man. I've been saying, screaming for years, bloody murder. He's a sixth man, and that's at best what he is. That's his most helpful thing he could be on any team, is as a sixth man scorer. That's all he can ever be, because that's all he is. He actually genuinely fucking sucks. And then they have him there, and they trade him before the trade deadline to fucking Chicago, the disaster class that is the Bulls. And then he does even worse there. I mean, come on. Like, and the only reason why that happens, especially off of a contender like that, is because he genuinely hurt his team when he was on the floor. And they were genuinely better when he was off. Proving all the hate they've been spewing about him for fucking like a half a decade. Completely correct. And because he's a free agent this offseason, watch him get damn near half the contract he did with us in Portland of the 4 years, $100 million. He's probably going to get maybe 4 years, $40 million to 4 years, $55 million is probably the range he's going to be getting. And there's obviously going to be probably at least one or two teams that are going to be so desperate, they'll probably offer him like a $70 million, $75 million, $78 million 4-year contract. But it ain't going to be 100 because he ain't worth that. And teams are recognizing this dude actually sucks. We've overrated him for so fucking long because he's about to go into his 8th season. Next season is his 8th year in the league, or is it his 9th? It's either his 8th or his 9th year. He's been in the league a lot longer than you think he has. That's the wild part. He feels like he's been in the league like 5 years, maybe 6. But I knew, though, despite that it felt like that, he was in the league for between 8 or 9 years. And I'm pretty sure he's going to his 8th season next year. So, I mean, like, yeah, it's 8th season. I actually did check before I did this video. But it's been now 46 minutes. So, but yeah. And again, this is like a stream of consciousness. But at least in this one, I've been able to stay on topic pretty damn well. And say the things and express the things I really felt I needed to get off my chest and get out there as a Blazers fan from my perspective. And I'm sure to 99.9% of everybody out there in basketball world, I'm a stark raving fucking incompetent idiot who doesn't know anything I'm talking about. I'm a nasty casual. Meanwhile, I could list to you so many fucking players, and they're all like players who maybe play 1 or 2 years, or even just only partial seasons in the NBA between like the 2006 season and the 2014 seasons. And role players, they're so deep bench and deep lore that like you literally probably didn't even remember their existence. But sure, I'm a dirty, nasty casual. Yeah, totally. Anyway, there you go. I'm going to shut the fuck up now. There's a stream of consciousness from a Blazers fan perspective. I'm just going to end this the way I should, which is, again, I'm having so much fun with this because we're in the fucking postseason. We're finally in the playoffs for once. And this team's actually exciting to watch. It's been too long. And with the new ownership, I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic, but we'll see how Tom Dundon works out.